It's good to see everybody here this morning. I see some faces I haven't seen in a while. Welcome back. Welcome home. Can you feel the love in the room? As we love God, as we open up our hearts just to love, the love just goes out. Uncontrollable love just going out to whoever happens to be in our path. And that's the energy of Christmas. That uncontrollable love just going out to globally affect all mankind. 2,000 years ago, an event occurred that was so important, we mark time by it. That's how big that event was. We used to call it AD, Anno Domini, I believe. Anno Domini. And that means in the year of the Lord. BC was before Christ. Before this event, we mark time. After this event, we mark time. Now, politically, it's politically changed that now we are in the CE, the Common Era, and BCE, before the Common Era. But we're still marking the same event, whether we call it the year of our Lord or not. This is the magnitude that this event had on the consciousness of the earth. It was an event of consciousness. This was the moment when God's love became visible to man. And I want you to understand a little bit about what Jesus was coming into. 700 years before he was born, 700 years before he was born. Our country's how old? 3, maybe. We're working on 4, maybe, the country of our consciousness. 700 years before Jesus was born, Isaiah wrote about a Prince of Peace that was to come. And the name was given Emmanuel. Emmanuel means God is with us. God is with us. In Isaiah's time, as in the time that Jesus was born, God was a creator who, if you were good, God was with you. If things were not good, if times were not good, if you were fighting or struggling, that means you must have done something bad and God was no longer with you. You see? It was this external God that was with you or not with you based on your behavior. God is with us. So, their faith was in the unknowable God. Emmanuel, God is with us always, came in a different way than they even expected. God's love would come and never turn away. That was the promise. God's love would come to earth and never turn away, like they had seen. And so God's love came in the form of a baby. It came in the form of human consciousness, so it could touch the entire world. White Eagle says that Jesus had many people say this, but White Eagle says Jesus had many incarnations prior to this one to prepare himself for this mission for mankind. He was so filled with love that nothing could tempt him off of his connection with God. He was so filled with love, the temptations that beset our human consciousness could not take him away from his connection with God. And tempt is an old word we don't use much anymore. We've replaced the word tempt with distract. Today we are not tempted to do wrong. We are merely distracted from doing good. See? But it's the same thing. Where is our focus? Are we focusing on what will propel us forward in good? Or are we distracting ourselves with things that do not propel us at all? So, we are still in human form. But when we look at Christmas, we look at Jesus, whose focus was so clear and so direct on God and on good. He never deviated. And when you study the scriptures and you look at how often he was challenged by his own siblings. Do you remember when they made fun of him? He was challenged by teachers who loved and adored him, but turned away from him when he took a different position. He was challenged by the political leaders. He was challenged by his own disciples. His own disciples challenged him. Never once did he act in less than love toward them. Never once did he take the human posturing of power. We call it pulling rank in my house. Never once did he rise up and say, it's because I said so. He always responded in love. Always. He was honest, he was direct, but he never stepped away from the connection of the divine. And that connection of the divine is love. And you know what I'm talking about when you feel the love of God?
Yes.
It's almost unbearable. Do you know? When you feel it and it's overwhelming and you almost can't take it because it's so strong. And then we step out of it and we go, that was awesome. And we try to get back into it. But it's so deep and so pure and so holy, that connection of the divine in our consciousness. And that is the gift that Jesus Christ brought. I wanted to share just a little bit from Jesus Teacher Healer by White Eagle. I want to talk about Jesus' story today from the aquarium. Look, my place is lost. Well, there we go. I'll just paraphrase. Lots of words in here. Jesus Teacher Healer. What White Eagle says is that when we cross over, one of the first things that we realize is the great love of God. You know, some of us don't realize it instantly because we cross over taking our own personalities with us. But eventually we wake up enough. When we're dead, when I mean crossing over, we die. We go back home. Eventually we feel this fabulous love. And we realize how powerful, how loving, and how beautiful God is. It's something we don't touch when we're here in this earthly complexities. And he goes on to say that when Jesus Christ was born, there is a group of beings called the Spiritual Brotherhood who love the earth and come to the earth. And Jesus held that energy of the deeper consciousness of the pure love of God. And when he came, he focused and brought that pure love that we all can touch into physical embodiment. And we take it very lightly, like this was a great Son of God, yeah. But this was a great gift from God. This Spirit who chose to be born to bring this great higher consciousness to the earth plane. And in his life, he brought a touch of that heaven that we feel when we cross. Because he knew that heaven. Some very beautiful words in here about that, about his mission of bringing the light to humankind. But he brought such a higher consciousness. Jesus could not be born to just a sleeping mom and dad. You know, he had to be born to people who had at least wakened up enough that they could house and raise this child of God love. And it took many eons for the people to be prepared. And the details of setting in order all of the beings of light that would help Jesus Christ in his mission. Every detail had to be prepared. In the Aquarian, it tells us that Mary was a higher evolved spirit. All the people who saw him had to be evolved. And they came consciously to participate in assisting him in his mission. They came knowing, I'm going to be born at this time to play a role in Jesus Christ bringing Christ energy to the earth. They came and they became human, and they forgot. So every one of them had to be reminded. And they were. When you look at the scriptures, Mary was told, Mary's parents were told she was going to give birth to a prophet. Gabriel told Mary. Mary told Joseph. Gabriel appeared to Zacharias and told him about John, the son he would have, and about Jesus. They told Elizabeth. Gabriel appeared to Elizabeth and told her about the son she would have and about Jesus. The wise men were told. Everyone who needed to know was told, and everyone was there. Even though they may have forgotten on the human level, they had the consciousness to hear God. I want you to hear that. I want you to really hear me.